just ordered like some of this stuff. And now it's turned up and it's bad. It was too easy, and I was like, wow, I just realised how much stress I have running this thing. That sounds stupid, but because I'm not trying to make money, what would I be scared of if at some point, if it doesn't work and everyone quits skateboarding, I'm still going to have all these skateboards. I'm still going to be stoked that I've done it.
Hello, I'm Henry Bluefield and welcome to another episode of Benevolent Business. This week, I've got one of my best mates on the podcast talking about his own business, his own skate shop. So it's Chris Chambers of AltarSkateShop. I remember like when he said to me about coming on it was quite an interesting conversation, quite a deep one. And a lot of one about going into open honesty. And I kind of wondered how it would relate to the podcast as such and how it would be in line with Benevolent Business as such. But then I realised, and what I've really realised in this series, taking it all on myself, is that Benevolent Business hasn't got to be about a specific business as such. It's about having the right questions to ask and making the topic around such of what you want it to make. And that's exactly what I'm doing with Benevolent Business, making it a conversation around the things that I want to strive, the information I want to extrapolate out of people. So I've always a really interesting conversation to have. And as well, I actually got thinking to the impact Chris has had on the community within the area on skateboarding, us lot. And I think where would skateboarding be within this area in terms of like Kent without Chris? And where like even my own self personally, where would I be in skating without Chris? Like he's helped me out massively since he started the shop. I was like 15, 14. Yeah, because I got on the shop team when I was 15, coming up for 16. Like 10 years, literally like more than 10 years ago. So this is a really interesting chat all around the skateboarding industry, the trials, tribulations of business in this industry, and what we can expect to come from the future with the post-pandemic and post-Brexit troubles that are coming up in terms of the industry of just, well, any business that involves this in import-export goods and materials. So let's dive in to this conversation where we really do get a bit honest and go quite deep into it. So hope you enjoy it. I'm going to stop rambling on now. Let's get stuck in. Chris, welcome to Benevolent Business. Thanks for coming on.
That's right. Glad to be here.
Good, I'm glad you are. So you obviously wanted to come on and talk all about the shop and I suppose the industry as a whole. So to kick off, when you started AltarSkateShop, what were your expectations back then? So we're talking how long ago? 10 years ago? 12 years?
12 years.
12 years ago.
Yeah, 2 months.
Firstly, fair play. 12 years of running the shop.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Cheers, man.
And what was your expectations when you started the shop?
Well, when I started Altar, it was just like all I wanted to do was have like a bundle of boards to be able to sell to like my mates, and we can get them cheap, like, or I could get them cheap.
Yeah.
And then that was it. I just literally just wanted to be able to have as many boards as I could get and help mates get them without like going into London and travelling anywhere. But I didn't really expect it to be anything more than that, like, if I'm honest. It wasn't wasn't planned to be like, I never wanted a shop. I never wanted like to do as much as I have. Like it's all been like pure mistake or like luck of just meeting people on the way. Like, no expectations at all.
When you started it, did you notice people within the skate scene start treating you differently, speaking to you differently?
Yeah, I had, so obviously no one sort of knows who you are when you just skate and hang out at the parks, but when you start selling stuff, obviously I made more effort to talk to people, and people started to know who I am. And yeah, sometimes people would be like, it's kind of fine, it's like, it's nice that people want to talk to me, like at the time, and I was kind of naive to how some people would talk to me. Do you know what I mean? Some people would like kind of want stuff from me for free, and people still kind of do. Like I get a lot of messages still online. It's normally from people I don't know and not actual mates now, because people have tried. But it's kind of weird because people kind of like think that I can give them more than
well, when I think back to when you started the shop, I was like 14 and
you was a baby.
But back then, like you were just the guy from Dartford that skated that I knew of, and then you started the shop, and it's like, oh, Chris from Dartford who's got the skate shop. So now, just when I think back, in open honesty, I was just like, okay, this guy's got a skate shop. Now I need to hooking up his friends and stuff. So I'm like, I want to get on this shop team.
Oh, definitely.
And I remember reaching out to you and like asking about it, and I think it took a year of pestering you, and then
I had like
everyone pestering you.
I had harder rules to get on the shop back then as well. So like, I made you wait longer than I should have done. But it was 15, and I wanted you to be 16, and that I thought.
I remember that. That was a conversation.
Like,
you was like, yeah, you got to be 16.
Yeah, I thought like, oh, if he's like when he's 16, like that's it. He's a young adult. He can like if he's carrying on skating from then I know he's like good. And like, that was kind of the rules for you as such. Yeah,
because I've been skating about 3 years.
Yeah.
So I started when I was like 12. So then at 15, I've been skating 3 years.
Yeah.
What? Having Altar now for 12 years, what are your ambitions with the shop that you want to strive towards in the future now? Because I don't know what people's perceptions are, but it's like, in knowing you very well, it's obviously not money. Like, you're not driven by money.
No, I'm rubbish at making money.
And
I own a skate shop.
Yeah, if you want to make money, don't start a skate shop. But what are your ambitions instead then?
After the pandemic and everything, obviously I've shut the doors.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing stuff online. But right now I'm like focused on just like regrouping myself mentally, because it's just been like stress, and I've been pretty miserable. But since like closing the store and going skateboarding and like meeting the community and not being stuck in the same place, although I loved being in the store, like being stuck there all the time, it'd be like, oh, I missed out on some trips. Like, just because, I had to, like, fucking stay here. Which is fine, I don't regret anything I do. But, I needed, like, 5 minutes to regroup. So, like, right now, I'm like, I just want to do some pop-ups. And at some point, I want to open a store. But I don't know how to do it. Yeah, like, I'm looking in different areas, and I just can't figure out how to do it, because if I just open a shop, like a skate shop, like I've done that, and it's cool, it's fun, but I can do more if someone wants to kind of be involved in it. So if I have, say, like a studio, like a big enough place for like a studio, so like someone can do their art shows or artwork there, whatever, it'd be cool to have like
donuts and coffee.
Yeah, donuts and coffee, like a cafe and stuff. Kind of like June Store. Shout out Dave. But that, like this, I need more people to be involved than just me. Because I've done the shop. It's cool. It's great, and I can support. I can support all the people I do on the team, and do the events without having the store just now. So I need people a community of us to be, not us, but anyone, like, to get behind it and do just more than the skate shop. So.
You spoke about like having that impact on your mood and having the store and being stuck at times, because like I can relate to that in my business when I had a unit in a yard which I only recently got rid of. Like moving into it was like a huge milestone, a huge achievement. It was a tangible achievement in my company, and then it ended up flipping. Like, I'd be so happy to be there. When I moved into that unit, I wanted to spend every waking moment. I'd go there at like 7 in the morning, I'd come home at like 8 at night. But then as things started to go downhill in my company and like everything was going wrong, it was more stressful, suddenly I associated that place with like anxiety and like stress, and so I'd actively avoid being there. And I just wouldn't show up or whatever. I would hide away from there or escape as soon as I could. Do you relate to that?
Yeah, definitely. The opening shop was the fucking scariest thing I've ever done. Like, I have no idea how I've got to a point where I can run a business without it being like too much for me, because I'm rubbish at numbers. I can deal with people and I like people, but after a while I'm quite anxious, and it's like I start getting stressed and like stutter and stuff.
One thing I want to like lean in on this is obviously opening a shop is a huge milestone, and I like relate that to my own company. Getting this unit was a huge milestone. So what have been other milestones in the 12 years where you've been like, because
similar sort of thing, like when I started out to you, it's just kind of like there's this idea, I experiment with it, it's not really a thing, and it's only like a couple of years down the line where it actually becomes this thing, and it's this thing then becomes a business. What have been significant milestones for you where you've been like, damn, this is cool, this is real? Obviously getting a shop.
Yeah, but before the shop, when I printed my first load of t-shirts that I just gave away to all my mates,
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. Like, my mates are gonna like rep, and this is like a nice thing. And then after that, it was getting like certain people on the team have always been like, I've been like stoked to have questions on, you know, like he's like from Kent, he's like one of my best mates, and like when he was like, oh, I want to be involved in it, I was like, this is cool, like this, I love this, like I got backing from a real cool person and a mate. And then opening the store was like definitely one, and then doing the events have always been every time we've done big events at Dartford Skate Park. The opening of Prom was cool, in Gravesend, and then the House of Vans, what was it, 8th birthday House of Vans, we did the, what was it called, Skate Fridays.
Yeah.
And we filmed with Jake Martinelli and the team, skated in the park, and that was cool because like having like Gary play, and then grenades, and then like having all my mates come to that was like, I remember saying to Nick Zorlak, or I was standing with Nick Zorlak and being like, I've peaked. Like, this is as good as it's going to get. Like, I've got everyone in the room. We've made this cool video.
Yeah.
I've managed to give away £200 from Vans because they've got like money to burn. And like, awesome, thanks so much. And then like, yeah, that was like a super highlight of doing the shop so far. Like, loved that.
Amazing. I think I missed that.
Yeah,
I think that was in my era of working every moment of my life.
it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just
that's
like, wasn't
fine.
doing anything.
You was trying to hustle and make some money. That's cool.
To put a contrast to it, what have been the greatest challenges? But key to it, what has been the biggest lessons that's come out of those challenges, or biggest mistakes? Whatever you want to call them.
Biggest mistakes, like, is probably like trusting certain people, like team riders.
Oh, okay.
Because they've caused grief, and it's cool. I get that people get in trouble, but sometimes I don't want to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, if you're associated to them.
Especially like if they've upset, say like if someone, this hasn't happened, but like if they upset someone in a town, like in Dartford, then I'd be like, you'd be like proper annoyed, wouldn't you? Like, oh, that's like, they're on my team and I back them and I've kind of made the mistake.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, just making bad judgments on brands as well.
Okay.
Like backing brands and then being like, oh cool, they're wood shit, or you know, they're just like in it for 5 minutes, and it kind of bums me out because if like people want help and stuff selling their brand, I'm down for it. Like, I sell mate stuff and I'd always back like local people, but it's when they start doing it and then just make the worst shit, and you've gone like, oh, I've just ordered like some of this stuff. Now it's turned up and it's bad. But like, you know, that's just bad judgment on people, I guess. I don't know if I've learned any lessons. Like, maybe not moving the shop sooner.
Moving it, well,
Yeah.
as in getting rid of it, or?
No, not getting rid of it, like changing its location just to mix it up.
Oh, okay.
But because the pandemic happened, I wasn't in the shop for 6 months and I was selling out my house.
Yeah.
And it just like, it was too easy, and I was like, wow, I just realised how much stress I have running this thing, because I'm like, now I can, like that summer, like going skating all the time, I know like we was only meant to go for a bit, but everyone obviously sneaked off and skated, and like I just like had such a good time, that it made me realise I should have probably like moved the shop to a better location that could have had more of a scene around it. Not that Dartford doesn't have a scene,
but just more footprint in the way of skateboarders.
Yeah, Dartford's a very quiet town,
Yeah.
and the skateboarders are great.
And the skate park's falling apart.
The skate park is falling apart, and that's stress trying to deal with the council. That's one thing I've learned: never deal with the council. I'm not going to slag off Dartford Council, but it's really difficult to deal with them.
Talking on this, one thing, I made a video recently that I'd mentioned before we started, of literally the video I uploaded today was about lessons I'd wish I'd been taught in business before I started. And one thing that I mentioned to you, one thing I had, I'm like, I want to be an honest person, I want to be nice, I want to do a great job, and that's what I want my business to all be about. And just as a nice person, dealing honestly and speaking to people nicely and being respectful, I will get that experience, and I will find that people are respectful and decent and kind. And then you realise the reality is that people will screw you over, and you will get mugged off. And like, I've been done over for like money. I've been had things of people like trying to destroy me and take me down. But can you relate to that, or would you say I was just am I being too pessimistic?
No, I've had like people have started businesses around in the local area. One was only literally down the road from me in like West Kingsdown and stuff, but like none of it's ever done out of like, I don't think anyone's trying to like destroy me as such, but I don't think people realise, and we're such a small island that there's only X amount of people that can sell, skateboards.
Yeah.
Before there's just hundreds of skateboards lying around and no one wants them. So yeah, it's hard when people open up near you. And I get why people don't back website stores.
When you say people don't back website stores, do you mean distributors?
Yeah, distributors. Sorry, yeah. I get why the distributors don't back them, because if you have like 3 kids start a shop online, they might all just move to Dartford.
Yeah.
And then you've got 3 people trying to fight over turf, and it's some weird turf war about skateboarding, and it's not. It's there's this, but also at the same time, there's like so many. Yeah, the stores you can only have so many stores, and you just can't have that many online because everyone would be fighting for it. But the people that have opened up they've done what they can do, and over the 12 years, the amount of shops I've seen close has been insane. I mean, already this year, there's like, I know Beans and Boards is closing, and that's like, holy shit! Like they've been around for 6 years, and they're doing a cool thing for their scene. Like if you follow them on, like I don't know these guys, but I see them on Instagram, and I've seen that they're doing cool shit for their scene, and it's mad that they can't survive. But it's mad that they also couldn't go online only, and from the beginning. And help their scene and then build up from that. I was lucky because I was online originally, so I got to build up, and then people saw that I'm like, that guy's not just a kid in his bedroom trying to sell skateboards to his mates, he's actually paying rent with it. And then obviously opening the store, that helped everyone be like, yeah, you're legit.
Does that scare you, seeing brands, shops, companies dissipate?
Yeah, constantly. You hear rumours of people closing or people struggling, and like obviously I talk to a lot of the guys who run shops. Like I'm on an Instagram chat a group chat with a few of them, and we like, we all know how we're doing, we all know who's good, who's not, and we're all like, we're all backing each other, because like you don't want your fucking mates to go without, and we're all trying to do cool things. But I don't know, I guess because I'm not trying to make, this sounds stupid, but because I'm not trying to make money, what would I be scared of if people don't, like, at some point, if it doesn't work and everyone quits skateboarding, I'm still going to have all these skateboards. I'm still going to be stoked that I've done it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go back to being a welder. I'm like, cool, like, I can earn some money then and not have to worry about being skint.
Yeah, true. So the industry as a whole, what insights can you give there in terms of manufacturing, distribution? Because you've got the aftermath of the pandemic, you've got the stress and problems caused by Brexit in terms of distribution, shipments, and even just other global
Petrol
issues.
prices.
Yeah, petrol prices, global issues, climate change issues
war.
of just manufacturing, like growing trees and coppicing trees and all sorts. So what insights can you give from the industry in terms of...
I hope you're enjoying the conversation so far, and it's interesting to be in a conversation like this with one of your best mates that a lot of the time conversations are mucking around on a skateboard. Although Chris and I, even when we hang out a lot, we have a lot of the same, I suppose, matching schedules, so we're spending a lot of time together, having a lot of conversations around all kinds of things in life. So it's quite a different twist to have it in more of a formal setting where it's like I'm the interviewer, he's the interviewee. But it's quite nice, and it puts a weird formal touch on something with one of your best mates you don't normally experience. So it's quite interesting, but I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are too. But anyway, this week's sponsor of the podcast, I'm actually going to flip it back. Because this is such a skateboard-related episode, I want to flip back to a previous conversation I had with Jeff, the founder of Clown Skateboards, because honestly, a lot of the people that are going to be listening to this, watching this, are going to be skateboarders. So I want to flip you back to the sponsor of this week being a previous episode of Benevolent Business Series 2, with Jeff. So let's get a little few snippets there.
I was constantly battered. It was either drinking or too much drugs at that point as well. I've known Banksy for a number of years. And really, really good friends. Clown in Action helped transfer that great community feel and take it wider. Not just bring more kids on board skating and not help out on kids on mental health and well-being and stuff like that, but also just the general public to realise this is a really good scene that can help. The attitude can help a lot of other people. How the fuck am I even going to do this? Everything's shut. Nowhere's open. I can't go and see anybody. Can't do... So literally, I just got on the phone and started bashing people on the phone. Like.
If you've missed that episode, please make sure to go back and check it out. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure Jeff will appreciate it. And I'm sure Chris equally will appreciate it if you go back and listen to that conversation, because it does a lot to help the podcast out. And obviously, if you give me some feedback in terms of what you enjoyed, if it was a great conversation, what questions did I not ask? Let me know. But otherwise, let's get back to Chris.
With stuff like that, it's just getting mad expensive now.
Yeah.
So wood prices are really, really mental. I know Genosis, I hope I've got that name right, but they've just closed, and they've been making boards in the UK, and they were just like, they've said like it's too expensive, and it's like, I can see that, ordering these boards. I've just ordered a board, I know it's an American branded board, but it costs like the price of a board that you can, like, to a customer, not what I should be paying, in the terms of like, I don't mind paying money for stuff, but if you can't, there is a point where that if too many people are making skateboards and they get, you know, woods used up and they're getting more and more expensive, there's going to be a point where people are going to be like, you got to be rich to do this, or anything. Like at some point there's only a finite amount of supply, right? So there's only so much you can make and build. So
where do you see the industry going in the future in terms of skateboarding? So is it something that will become rich kids sport or rich people's sport? Will people be more conservative when it comes to getting angry and throwing their boards and snapping it?
Yeah, because they won't be able to afford them. I think there's always going to be people trying to make stuff cheap.
Yeah.
Not necessarily good, but cheap. And if it gets someone on a skateboard and like whatever, like fine. But I don't know. I don't think it will become a rich boy thing anytime soon. Because I'm a bit pessimistic, I think there's going to be like a drop. I think people are going to be like, skateboarding's at some point it's got a peak, and it feels like it's coming to the peak, and that's why I think like this year, especially after the boom of everyone being like, oh, the Olympics is going to like save skateboarding. Well, we had a little bit of a boom, but now it's like, it's been 3 months into the year and it's nowhere near like it was last year. Like trying to sell a skateboard right now is impossible. Everyone's putting sales on, like, and I know that will change at some point because that's just natural progression, right? Like 1 minute it sells, 1 minute
the sun shines and everyone's
exactly, yeah. Again. British weather as well don't help. But yeah, there's, I don't know. I think there could be a dip in skateboarding, and that might save it in terms of money, anyway.
Complete random thought, but I just wonder if you're talking about how hard it is to sell a skateboard and just the drop in people's excitement around it. I wonder if part of that is this could both as a positive or a negative, but just one thing from when I started skating, in terms of consuming skateboarding content, it was videos, DVDs, that kind of thing. So I'm talking back when it was like Stay Gold came out, and I bought the DVD, and like City of Rats from Slam, that came out, bought the DVD. And so the way that I watched skating was buying these DVDs and then watching like every morning when I got up, and like all my mates came round when one of us got the DVD. All your mates came round, and you had like a little premiere at home.
I had VHS tapes.
Well, yeah, that was like before me. Now it's just like it's uploaded straight onto YouTube. Clips, the highlights are on Instagram, and you've kind of seen it, and it's like, oh, anyway, what's next? But I think the positive is skating has progressed so much quicker because of that. Because someone learns a new trick, invents something new, it's on Instagram with that day, and then five other people have done it by the end of the week.
You can jump down the biggest stair set, and that instant become like mega famous, and do you know what I mean? Like everyone know who you are. Whereas like, you'd have to wait for a full part to.
So I wonder if that's the fact that everything's so accessible. Does it mean that people start skating and think, wow, look, all these people doing these things, and now that you can see it instantly and it can seem so easy, now people get into skating, it's just like, oh, this is actually really hard. I can't be asked for that. Whereas,
there's a lot of that all the time with. I think like you always have like a gang of 10 kids, and 10 years later there'd be 2 of them left.
When I started skating, like the people I started skating with, you're probably looking at like 10 people, and I'm like, I'm still around. Even if I branched out to like 15, 20 people that I sort of skated with when I was 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, how many of them are going to
very few.
even own a board?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's seen, like, that's the thing, and it's seen as like at some point you grow up, or like, it's shit, because at some point some people have got to get jobs, and like that's how it is. Some people want to earn money, and you can't earn money and go skateboarding. If you're a tattooist or something like that, you break your hand. Yeah,
you're pretty bad. Well, that's the other downer, is the risk of, if you injure yourself, it's work as well. When I broke my foot, and I had to have everyone come to the store, and everyone helped me put up the posters and hang everything up, and like I'm just laying there like feel fucking useless. But like I'm so glad that like that was a high point, and it's like talking about a high point. Like all my mates just turning up, and throughout the day just putting stuff up and helping me while I'm like, fuck, I can't even like move. Well, that's the other thing I wonder is like trying to sell skateboards and stuff and the struggle of it, because I haven't owned a shop, but I feel like a huge benefit is when you have that shop, just in the experience of coming to see you at the shop, people will make a point of coming to pop in because you've got the shop, and it becomes like this significant reason to go to Dartford. It becomes like a
there's
but you
a few people that would never, for instance, like say like Sam Coe and the Cozzy lot, why the fuck would they come to Dartford?
They wouldn't, but they come to the shop, and then suddenly they're in the shop, and suddenly they're like, oh, I like that hoodie, oh look, I've just spent 60 quid, my mate have brought with me, spent another 50. So you miss out on that. But then I wonder if that's a huge
I miss out on more money. I miss out on more money, but I have
no rent.
I have no overheads. Like, as long as I, pay for the skateboards, like that's it. I pay for my website, so and that's why it's easy for me to like help a lot of the kids. We were saying about earlier, like
hooking up people.
Well, now I'm in a position that like, because I don't have the overheads, there's a few more people that I'm like, oh, they're really cool. And now I can be like, oh, I can help you out.
So why do you want to open a shop again?
Because like I said, if I do it, it won't just be a shop.
It'll be hybrid.
Even if it's a money pit, I'm going to enjoy doing it.
And I think that's a key thing, even like coming into a world of post-pandemic, I think that's a huge thing in terms of, I think the high street's coming back in a big way, but it's not for generic shops the way we need them before, and it's got to be something around experience. People aren't going to want to go, I feel, people don't want to go to the high street to make a purchase. That Amazon's destroyed that. You click a button and it's at your house. You go to the high. I see people. You go to the high street for an experience now. So, and that's why I look at just people I know live in different towns, and I see high streets that are booming and high streets that are dead is based around how much of the stores are based around experience. If the stores are offering different coffee lounges, bars, restaurants,
food and coffee and stuff, always be fine. Well, as long as you've got everything around it, but they're the ones that will go last because everyone wants food and stuff. But like that's why I think like people opening up stuff now, like Beans and Boards, like cool, you've got a coffee shop, place for people to hang out, you know, meet up, skate, get a coffee, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like Happy Skate, I don't know if you've seen them guys, Dan Joyce.
I know the name, I think.
Yeah, he's got a shop in Folkestone, and underneath it he's just built some ramps so like kids can learn.
That's
and
pretty cool.
Adults can hang out and stuff, and it's like that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
why, like, yeah, my location, that's what I mean earlier, like I wish I'd moved earlier, because I'd wish before the pandemic I would have been a little bit easier. It would have been a little bit easier for me mentally at the time to be like, oh, I'll risk and get another unit and make it bigger. But because the pandemic happened, it was just like, this fighting to do the little unit and was hard enough. So, yeah.
I like the idea of a store in the future, though, of some sort of collaboration where, or if you can break into a different industry, like you've talked a lot about like going to band nights and stuff and the experience that brings, if you could interact that into the high street.
Yeah,
I suppose if people aren't living above it,
there's a shop in Chelmsford, Hotbox, and I think I might be wrong, but every Friday and Saturday night they have bands play.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've been doing. I think they've just restarted doing it because obviously they had problems because of the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a skate shop Monday to Friday, and then Friday night and Saturday night. They open on Saturdays as well, everyone. But yeah, like that's cool because it's like it's not just for skateboarders; it's for people in a different scene, but the same culture. Like,
yeah.
You know, getting artists, like people that ride extreme things, like whatever, and people that are into like art. You can get them in one room, and everyone's going to hang out and be cool with each other, aren't they? Because it's similar kind of stuff.
So why is it important for people to support their local skate shop?
Because if you don't have one, you will never get bullied. No, you will never. You'll never have the like. Walking into a skate shop, sick. Like you've done it. I remember walking into. I can't remember. The first skate shop I ever walked into was Oddballs in Brighton. That I remember.
I can't remember the first skate shop I walked into.
And Oddballs sells like, it wasn't just a skate shop, it was like, they sold like yo-yos and stuff like that. And like, that's kind of a cool thing. Like before having a shop, I was like, I'd never do anything to mix stuff. But it's like, the guy who owned that was cool because he was like into juggling and all this stuff. And it was like, oh, he likes skateboarding and everything, like put it all together. And that's probably why he's still about. And they've got a couple of stores.
So, because this is, when I think back to being like 14, 15-year-old kid, so local skate shop starts up and there is that, like, oh, it's local, just go there. But I feel like there's a lot of, well, I'm speaking on your behalf, I feel like there's a lot of entitlement for people. If you're in the local area and there's someone starts a skate shop, people feel entitled to a discount, to a freebie, to a hookup. And I had that in my own head, but then since I started in business, now, because I've been in business, if I had a friend that has a business, whatever it is, whether it's a skate shop, whether it's a barbershop, whether it's a candy store, whether it's an online thing, now I'd want to pay like more than what they're even asking for. I'm like, don't give me a discount, like I will pay you and I'll tip you, like because I know how brutal it is when you start a business and how money does not exist.
It's a kind of a bummer when like people kind of expect it. When I first started, especially when I opened the shop, that's when people be like, oh, go on, sort me out, mate. Like, some of you dudes I haven't seen for years, and like now you've just turned up, and that's cool, because I like respect that. Like, thanks for turning up. But like, it is kind of offensive when you're especially when you've just started. Like, opening the shop was mad scary for me as it was.
Yeah, people are walking in like, oh, you've opened a shop, now what can I have?
Yeah, and I'll always try and help people out when I can. Yeah. But like, you know, the people that turn up that first day, I'm going to remember that. And when they come in, I'm going to, you know, some people like chuck them like a board, or like, you know, like they can't afford something, give them a bit of discount when you can, do you know what I mean? But like, yeah, it is like...
First day you opened, is that when you had like a load of pizza and you watched? I can't remember, because there's been a few things at the shop where you've done like premieres and that.
Yeah,
I can't remember the shop opening.
I don't think you was there that day.
Was that?
I don't think so.
Oh, blacklisted.
I don't know. There's a photo somewhere. And what? Oh, it's not in these walls. But
Why was I there? Because I was like full on skating. That wasn't in the time that I was working. That
no, yeah, you must have come through it.
Oh, was that when you started the
At some
shop when
point.
I was? Yeah, actually, I think when you had the shop, it was a lot of times when I was like business minded, working every day. So
Yeah.
probably didn't go because I was working.
Yeah. Well, I'm not offended.
I remember because you had some sort of premiere thing at the shop, and so it's like a bunch of skateboarders going to watch something, and everyone's there in like their dickies and hoodie or whatever with like rips and stains and everything. And I showed up in like
Yeah.
not quite a suit, but yeah, like smart trousers. So I instantly walked in and was like, oh yeah, different world.
I forgot that everyone's a bit grubbier than me. Yeah, the opening was. It was weird because like people that I hadn't seen for ages coming in, and like most people didn't ask for discount. I'm not going to mug anyone off, like even as
Yeah.
well, because it's like I get it. Do you know what I mean? Like some people are just cheeky and whatever. Like over the years, I've learned to be like, oh, I don't take it offensively now. Like when I opened the shop, I was like I said, it was proper like, oh man, I'm skint. I've just give me a break. Like whereas
Yeah.
like now I'm like, oh, I get it. Everyone's got to make money. It's difficult for everyone, and I help people out when I can. But you know, like you said, if I go to mates and they offer me discount, I always turn them down twice. Third time I'll take it. Like yeah, like you got to support your mates, and you got to help like whatever scene it is, like music, fucking calves, whatever.
There's a weird stigma around it though. If your friend does start up something where people have that entitlement, but also, I don't know. I don't even know how I'm trying to frame the question, but there is this weird thing of, I guess it is just entitlement that I'm talking about. But I think there's this weird disdain or dislike in your head of, there can be this element of jealousy and envy that people have because someone is doing something, started something, created something, whether it's a company, a band. Like if your band's having a live event, I feel like friends will be stoked and want to go, but then you get friends that are a bit like, I want to start a band and have a gig. I'm not going, I don't want to go to your gig.
Yeah, it's weird because I know what you mean. It's like,
'Cause you can lose friends when you start.
yeah, you can. Well,
that's the question,
I've
actually.
upset people on the way, and like
Yeah.
I hope that people know that I probably was in the wrong as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
But you know, like when it comes to like, if you fuck with water, this is how I eat. And I have to be a bit protective of it. Do you know what I mean? I never want to take money or food off the table from anyone, but like I come first. I know that's like selfish, but if I'm going to play a part in capitalism,
That's human life.
like
You have to.
because if I'm good, then my friends are good, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be mugged off. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
One thing we've touched on in terms of like having those experiences and fallouts, and then having talked about like getting screwed over and such. One thing, to keep it lovely negative, but one thing is just obviously in business you have to have a lot of difficult conversations. In life you have to have a lot of difficult conversations, but how, because this is probably one thing that I struggled with the most in terms of mentally, being able to like fire someone, being able to tell someone they've done something wrong, especially when they had like good intentions and they've really screwed up. It can be really difficult mentally. Like you've basically got to like, give someone a telling off that can be quite severe, or fire them, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't wait to fire them. But how have you found difficult conversations, whether it's like, I suppose for you it's not employing and hiring and firing, it's more having team riders come on and then telling team riders like, no, you've just basically given a bad name to me because of what you've done, because of your actions, you've therefore got to be kicked off. How have you found that mentally it was to have those conversations?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's heart-wrenching when it's the other way around. When kicking people off is easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think morally, I think I've got good morals, and I think if anyone, they're quite hard to break as well. They're pretty like just don't murder anyone, right? Unless they deserve it. No, but don't murder anyone. Don't fucking do anything dodgy, and don't be a racist. Like don't fucking any of that shit. I can't be bothered with it. Like we're inundated with it on the internet as it is, and it's fucking gross. Like but luckily I haven't had any grief with people doing anything like that. So it's been, but it is easier to get rid of someone than them leaving. So last year or the year before, I had a mate leave, and even though he's just like, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It is like heart wrenching. Like when I think about it, I'm like, oh man, because I always think like I'm quite paranoid sometimes when it comes to people, when it comes to the shop, anything anyone does to the shop, I probably take it too personal. So when people leave the store or like don't want to ride for me or like have a problem with it, then I'm probably a little bit too sensitive to it.
Yeah.
But I have no hard feelings to anyone who wants. I get it. Some people want to leave because they want to ride. They've moved to somewhere else and they want to ride for the shop near there. Like Taylor Jones did it, and it's like good because you're rad and you're around the area. It makes sense for you to rep that end. Cool, do it. But yeah, it's horrible when they do.
It is difficult, and I've now found that I have weird, I don't know if it's anxiety, but anxiousness around emails. I get anxiousness around that. Just anything regarding email. When I go on my emails, there's this like coldness over me, and this
fear of emails.
Discomfort. Yeah, and also letters. If I get letters to the door, I'm like, no one ever wants to write a letter to me because it's good.
No,
it's always bad.
Letters freak me out as well.
Yeah. But one final question I always want to ask people is become a favourite question to ask, but it's what is one thing that exists within the world today that you hope to see eradicated in the future?
Oh, this is going to sound ironic coming from me if people know me because I'm quite angry, but anger, that sounds mental, right? But like,
it can fix a lot of things.
If everyone didn't react aggressively when you're trying to just solve a problem.
Yeah.
I know sometimes like things can get heated and people want to fight, and that's kind of extreme. But yeah, if
people could respond.
I wish that I didn't have anger because it's made me shout down the phone to people I probably shouldn't because they're actually nice people. Yeah. But yeah, I'm getting better at it. But yeah, anger, get rid of it. It's no good.
Interesting.
It's no good here.
I always get a different answer. It's always interesting to hear them. So,
do you always expect someone to pick an object, or do you actually mean like a?
No, I don't know. I think when I came up with the question, I was like, it's probably going to be really boring because everyone's going to say the same thing, and it's like it's going to be. Well, obviously there are things that you want to eradicate, but just like cancer or something along those lines, or like poverty or
whatever
hunger. But people have always got different things, and I think often when I ask the question, because it is on the spot,
I'd love to say world hunger.
People will often say the thing that seems most prevalent to them and most relevant to them in their life at that time. Sometimes, but
anger. Or maybe I've got. I'm an angry person, but I'm good at it now. I'm getting control of it.
But no, I do enjoy that on the spot question. So thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Right, thanks for
coming. Been a good conversation. It's been fun.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed the conversation with Chris from Altar. I kind of said what I thought throughout the breaks, the ads, but I hope you've got a lot of value from it. It's been really interesting for me. It's been quite insightful, and it hopefully makes you think around when it comes to just local businesses in your area, local skate shops. If you are a skateboarder, or if you're just someone listening purely for the fact of benevolent business, like think about local shops and what the impact can have supporting them, not just the feelings and emotions you can spark in them as being someone that purchases from them, the excitement they will get, but not only that, the impact it will have on the economy on a macro scale of your local area, but also nationally and even globally. If we all made that decision to just shop a bit more local, I'm pretty sure since Chris started, I've pretty much bought everything from him, unless he couldn't get it in or whatever. There's been a few things. There has been a few mistakes where I've ordered stuff and he's like, dude, you realise I could have got that in? I'm like, whoops, sorry. Or it was present sport for me. But I always try and like direct people to that. And if I have a conversation with people, or if someone comes up to me and talks about skating, I'll be like, look, literally phone this guy and he'll sort you out and help you out and give you a lot of advice. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure to like, review, subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to this on, and hope to see you, or hope that you'll be back for another episode of Benevolent Business. Until next time, see ya.